Well, allegations and counter-allegations likely to continue now with R. Kesing having joined the BJP. Let's move on now and turn our attention to the courts. Well, the government of Italy has moved the Supreme Court in the Italian Marines case, complains of slow pace of investigations. It's also complained of 1 year after the case was shifted to Delhi trial is yet to begin into the matter. The matter comes up, remember, for hearing on the 20th of January. Among other demands, Italy wants the Marines to be discharged. It wants the government to drop charges against them as the government has not complied with the January 2013 orders yet. Alternatively, Rome also wants the NIA to file a charge sheet within 2 weeks only under the laws mentioned in Supreme Court January 2013 order. In fact, Italy wants the Italian Marines to be allowed to go back to Italy till a charge sheet is filed. All right, senior lawyer Majid Memon is joining us from Mumbai, and Gaurav Sawant, our Strategic Affairs Editor, is joining us from our newsroom here. Let me first go to Mr. Majid Memon. Sir, unduly long duration in this case. It's been going on for almost a year. But do you think that the contention by the Italian side completely stands up and is justified because there was non-cooperation from their end as well?
Is it true that it may have taken a little longer time in their case, but they can't enjoy any special privilege only because they happen to be the people from the court? You see, the law takes into consideration the expediency, the urgency of the matter, the gravity of the matter, the sensitivity of the matter, and then the courts decide. There's a queue, there are several people waiting in our prisons, several Indians. Most of them could be even innocent. So our system is a little slow, that we may admit. But that does not mean that somebody should point finger at us and say that, look here, give me the highest treatment, and then otherwise, the consequences would be like this, that you discharge yourself. That may not be fair. If they make out a case that, well, they have suffered in custody for a long time and they need to be, then their trial needs to be expedited, then in such a case the court might consider the grant of order for expeditious disposal. And of course, all said and done, the criminal justice system must not be delayed, because it has to be prompt. And we are endeavoring in our effort all over the country for all our matters that we should see that criminal justice is delivered at the quickest possible time.
All right, Mr. Memon, I'd request you to stay on with us. Gaurav Sawant is now joining us from the newsroom with a perspective on the story. Gaurav, although the Italian side is pressing for the charge sheet to be filed quickly or for the Italian Marines to go back to Italy till such time as a charge sheet is filed, but there was undue delay from their side with no clarity on how the witnesses from the Italian side will depose, and it took a long time to come to a resolution, isn't it?
Well, the Italian side also delayed this matter on more occasions than one. Initially, when the Italians were permitted to go home to celebrate Christmas and come back on New Year's Eve, they delayed their return. In fact, Italy said they will not send the two Marines back to India. So the delay started. Then India had to mount a lot of pressure, including saying that the Italian ambassador would be in contempt of court for Italy then to send the two Marines back. So the delay started. Then, as you rightly pointed out, subsequent delay was in how witnesses would be then questioned in Italy, and then this mechanism of video conferencing came, and only then this matter would then start to move forward. So there is a delay in this case. No, there is no doubt about that. But to say that because there's been a delay, the two Italian Marines should be allowed to go back and the case should be dropped against them is almost trying to make a mockery of our judicial system.
Mr. Majid Memon, I'd like to come back to you on the point that Gaurav was raising there about the Italians wanting the Marines to be allowed to go back till such time as a charge sheet is filed. Now, is that demand justified, because that will amount to a special privilege given to them, really?
Certainly, they are not entitled to any special privilege. The judges, certainly, whichever court is approached, whether it's the High Court or the lower court, the courts certainly are going to take into consideration what are the considerations for grant of such prayers. You see, ordinarily also, no Indian citizen who is likely to flee outside India is easily permitted to leave India unless exceptionally a good case is made out. Otherwise, the possibility is that the man may leave Indian shores and then may not be available at all to receive justice. So that kind of, in order to avoid that difficulty which the court may face tomorrow, that these people, if they are allowed to go, what is the guarantee that they would come back to receive justice? And then they will have to resort to all drastic methods which probably may entail so much cost and time that to secure their presence back in our country to face the charges. So why unless there are compelling reasons and unless there are justifiable grounds, ordinarily the courts would not allow, because whenever bail is also granted in our country,
all right,
in order to ensure the attendance of the person
right,
who is on bail, his passport is being deposited, by way of abundant caution that the man doesn't leave country and doesn't become unavailable to the law. So
that certainly, sir, will be a cause of concern for India, because as Gaurav was pointing out there, after the Christmas break, they had indeed refused to come back to the country and face trial. Many thanks, Majid Memon and Gaurav Sawant, for joining us with those details.